Hi folks, Excisus here. Now, this is a little Cheburkov knife. I was unable to find out a lot of information about it, so I've kept it till last because it's actually a really nice little knife, but it's just I couldn't really find out too much about it, so I'll really just have to talk about it and describe it as it is. I know that it was available with an M390 blade and the titanium handles, and that probably would have been my preferred option for this. This Damascus steel looks very nice, but it's a fairly nondescript Russian Damascus, and it's not a it's not a Damascus with a core steel. It's purely the Damascus all the way through, and I just always have an issue with that because it's going to be a compromise. But it does look nice, and if this is going to be your everyday carry, which it very plausibly could be, then maybe that it looks nice is probably more important than the absolute integrity of the blade edge, because in the main you're going to be using it for relatively light tasks, opening parcels, envelopes and cutting things, which, let's face it, we've done with the likes of C70 for decades. This Damascus is like to be at least as usable as the steel as you might get on your Swiss Army knife or whatever. Now, granted, this is probably quite a bit more expensive. One of the things I was unable to find out was how much this costs with the Damascus blade. I think it's probably quite expensive and is relatively small, but I think a lot of that is made up for in the design of this knife, because it really is a very attractive little knife. It has one of those irritatingly just over 3-inch blades on it. I say irritatingly because if you live in a place where there is a 3-inch restriction on your blade, having a blade 3.05 inches long, which this does, is always just going to be just that little bit annoying, particularly when the cutting edge is exactly 3 inches, so you could get away with it. Now, this is the small Sebenza, and I really think this is a competitor for the small Sebenza in your pocket, but it takes that size and utility and gives it a bit of extra style. It's called the Urbis. Now, I don't know that that's a Russian word. A lot of the Cheburkov knives, like Stritch that we had, which means a swift, the bird, the swift, or we've had the Medvedev, which is the bear. This one's called the Urbis. Now, I don't think that's a Russian word. I think it's just from the Latin, and Urbis means of the city, and that would make sense because this is the sort of knife one might carry in the city. Some of the Cheburkovs that we've looked at have been absolute giant monsters. The bear, for example, great knife. I really, really liked it. But you probably wouldn't want to carry it in your suit pocket, partly because it's big and heavy, and partly because every time you got it out, everybody would think you were probably some sort of Russian gangster. Whereas this, you could pull it out of your pocket and it looks smart. It's also ergonomic. It's got lovely lines to it, which fit well in the hand. And though at first it appears to be a fairly, well, particularly if I had the M390 blade, would appear to be a very simple, straightforward, titanium handled M390 flipper frame lock. But actually there's a lot more to it than that. It's got a really nice shaped blade. I think it's probably a drop point, but it's almost spear point shaped. Even the top edge of the blade here, it's a nice curve to it, so it rises from the handle into the back of the blade and down to the point, which sort of almost echoes the blade side of the knife with this nice bit of belly here, a little bit of sort of straight, and this really quite shallow protrusion from the flipper. When it comes to the handle itself, you've got some nice shaping to it, but you've got the added attraction of this milling on this side here, which just gives it, a really nice feeling in hand. And we have the repeat of that on the other side. Again, we had the Xerxes knife recently, which had the repeat of the show side on the lock side, and this does the same. We've got this here. It looks almost as attractive on this side. Like the Xerxes, we've got the cutout for the relief for the lock bar on the outside. It's something I always think, why not put it on the inside? We've got a steel insert for the titanium against the blade. We've got these nice pivot collars on both sides. They're anodized. I was going to say they're anodized blue, but I'm not really sure that they are. There is a blue tint to the metalwork, which is very nice actually. And then we've got a sort of blue tinted backspacer in there. We don't have the lovely tapering that we had in the Xerxes, but it's still very nice. One thing we do have, and again this shares well with the Xerxes, is a milled titanium clip that actually works like a piece of spring steel. Now, people like milled clips because they look fancy, but they don't generally work very well. Whereas this one and the Xerxes do. Now there's a little bit of a gap between the clip and the knife there. So I don't know if that's because its owner sort of stretched it out a little bit, whether either by design or by accident, I don't really know. But it's a really nice looking clip, and it also is a nice working clip. So I'm a fan of that. Now, let me just show you the flipping action, because I struggle with small knives. I mean, I struggle with flipping anything, but I really struggle with flipping a small knife. Or I should say, there's a sort of a chamfered area there for your for the release of the lock bar, but it's actually, there's not a lot of space to get in there. And if I can do this, anybody can do this. It opens with a good authoritative clunk as well, which I quite like. Now, as I say, this is quite a small knife, but actually it feels quite nice in your hand. It's definitely a sort of weighty, chunky little thing, which sort of gives it a sort of degree of authority. You don't feel it's going to be problematic. You can choke quite far forward. You've got this little bit of jimping on there to help with that, or you can hold it back behind the flipper there. You've got a bit of jimping on the top, and that gives you quite a nice little grip. Is it quite filling your hand? Maybe not. Do it there, you've got a full 4-finger grip. You can use it in a sort of pinch grip fashion as well. And these pivot collars actually give you a bit of extra traction. It's one of the things that makes it possible for me to flip it, because I can get my thumb onto that part of the knife and brace it so that I can flick, because one of the slightly odd, quirky features of this knife is that the flipper tab is small. But it is small, but like I say, I can get enough purchase on there just to be able to flick it. Like I say, you know, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But it is one of those nice, slim, it's not, you know, what Nick Shabazz would call a pocket pecker. This is quite a subtle little flipper tab, and it doesn't really catch on things very much either. It's really quite nice. I should have said the centering on this is great. The blade stock is decently solid. The clip, as I say, works really well. I'm not keen on the Damascus blade, but it is available in M390 as well, or was available in M390. I don't know if it's currently available anywhere. But I should have said, I know I said the blade was 3 inches long. I should have given you a little bit more dimension than that though. Just so as I say, the blade is just 3.05 inches long. The cutting edge is dead on 3 inches. Overall length is 7 1/8 long. So this is a really good little pocket carry knife. I think this could make an ideal everyday knife. Now the 3.05 inch is obviously a moot point if you live in the UK, because this knife locks, and therefore, you know, it's a weapon of mass destruction, and you deserve to be hung, shot at dawn for the temerity to carry something as obviously lethal and mean as this. But no, I mean, setting aside that facetiousness, this would be a good little knife to carry as an everyday carry. As I say, it compares very well to the small Sebenza. It's a bit heavier than the small Sebenza, and actually feels a little better in the hand, and because it's a bit more organic. But in terms of size, it's pretty similar to the small Sebenza. Sebenza's a bit lighter and a bit thinner, but you know, there's not a huge amount in it. What else do I have on the desk here that you could compare it with? Well, I've got a Rockstead Heisen, which is their sort of small Sebenza size knife. It fits well with that sort of size as well. Probably competes in cost as well with the Rockstead. One of the more cost-effective Rocksteads. Now, but here's an interesting comparison. This is the Victorinox Pioneer X, which is I generally, back in the days when I used to go out of the house, it seems like forever ago, but really pre-COVID, I always used to have one of these plus one of my Enzo PK70s. That was my everyday carry, and this in itself is a similar sort of heft to this Cheburkov, and it's of similar size. It's obviously the Victorinox is thicker than the Cheburkov, but it's slightly shorter, and it's obviously a little bit narrower, but they're not dissimilar in size. And if you can carry this in your pocket, you can carry that in your pocket, and I think that makes an ideal sort of size of knife to carry as an everyday carry. And if locks were not such a problem in this country, I think this would make a great knife. Even if you had to delete the flipper and do it as a two-hand opening knife, I think this would still stack up great as an everyday carry knife. So that's the last one out of this batch. These ones will be going back, and we'll be getting hopefully some more in the new year. I don't know what's going to come, but there have been some really interesting knives in this lot. There have been, I think, 3 or 4 actually, 5 that I think have been great. You've got this little one here, which is a brilliant everyday carry. You had the Cersei, which is, I don't know if it's a knife I'd want to rush out and buy. Not that I can afford to rush out and buy any of them, but it's really interesting. It's a really nice knife to look at, to hold, to handle. Probably would be quite a good one to carry, although I suspect it might be a bit intimidating. The Medved, the bear, the huge big Cheburkov, it's a great knife. Somebody asked me to do a comparison with the on belay, and I might just do that actually as a separate video, little short one. But most of all, of course, the Cheburkov. That's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful knife. If I could have any knife and I could carry it, it would be that one. Although I would rather like it with a left-handed clip. But there we are, can't have everything. And the little Benchmade full immunity. Again, would be a great everyday carry knife. Very, very slicey M4 blade in a very nice little package. A bit expensive, but maybe not. What I find a little odd is it's a little more expensive than the bailout. And the bailout is very similar construction, but bigger. So it does seem a little bit odd. But anyway, there we are. That's this group. I've enjoyed them very much, and hopefully we'll get some more in the new year. But anyway, if you like this stuff, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help. And subscribing to the channel is a good thing. We're just coming up on 2,500 subscribers. Would be a nice little figure to hit before the year end. And leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm to get things shown. I'm sorry I'm not great with responding at the moment. Sometimes I have a good day and I can do things. Other days I'm just not up to it. But we fight on through. We keep battling, and we'll get there. And hopefully I'll catch up with the comments, even if I just give them a like. You'll know I've read them. I read them all, but sometimes it's just difficult for me to get back to typing in responses. Anyway, thank you all for watching. See you all again on the next one. Bye.